Good morning, everyone. Welcome to our Tuesday morning mindfulness session brought to you by Harvard Pilgrim Healthcare and Tufts Health Plan. This is a place where we invite experienced mindfulness instructors to speak with us about what mindfulness means to them and to discuss as a community how we can incorporate these practices into our daily lives. I'm Suzanne Rowe Palacino. I'm so happy to be here this morning with Jackie Johnson, professional coach and mindfulness instructor. Good morning, Jackie.
Good morning, Suzanne. It's great to be with you as always.
Fabulous to be with you as well. And as we continue on, Jackie will lead us in a guided practice this morning, but we will always start, as we do, with a question. So Jackie will, after that, will lead us in a guided practice and then share some thoughts with us. And then after that, we'll have a chance for chatting and question. So if you can go ahead to the bottom of your screen and open up your chat. And if you're interested, you can click the drop-down menu and that will allow you to see, you can click on the Everything tab, Everyone, and that will give you the chance to see everyone's comments as they come in. So Jackie, what question would you like to start off this morning with the group?
Thanks, Suzanne. Well, as I was sharing with you just as we were starting, the question has morphed so much in my head in the last few days that hopefully it comes through clearly. And Suzanne promised to interrupt me if it didn't make sense. So, I've just been thinking a lot about, with Thanksgiving approaching, that this is naturally a time where we recall, where we take stock in some way of what we're grateful for. This year in particular, what we may be grieving and ongoing struggles that are weighing heavily. And I think, again, this year in particular, it's hard not to be thinking back to where we were last year and to have that evoke thoughts and feelings and memories and maybe even expectations for this year. And my own plans for Thanksgiving changed just a few days ago. And I've heard that from some other folks as well. So that brings me to this ever-changing question of, as we move into the moments of this holiday time, in a word or a few words, what comes to mind that would be most helpful for you to remember? And what I mean is perhaps an intention or an aspiration that will help ground you in this holiday time in aligning with your highest values. Am I making sense, Suzanne?
Yes. As you mentioned that, when you say what is most important for us to remember, my mind was going back to all these different Thanksgivings in the past, not just the last couple of Thanksgivings, but just how it's evolved depending on what was happening in my life. So yeah, I guess if I was to kick us off, and folks, as you're considering that, what would you want to remember as you begin your time into Thanksgiving? And we know that some of us are spending this alone. So we just honor the fact that that may be our circumstance. But what would you like to remember as you enter this time? And I guess I would add that I'd like to remember my parents, because they're not around anymore. And we've had some really fun opportunities to get together for Thanksgiving. So I want to remember them.
Yeah, I had the reminder over the weekend, as plans changed, to be easeful with my expectations, which is an ever learning for me, especially when I get excited about things. It's easy to hold things like this when it can be helpful to hold things like this. There's a great saying at the retreat center where I often sit meditation. It's a beautiful calligraphy. And I think the quote is, try not to expect anything. In this way, everything will open to you.
I love that.
So,
Yeah,
what are you seeing?
I do not need to judge my feelings. Boy, that's an acceptance phrase if I've ever heard it. Patience and grace for self and others. The goal is not happiness, but rather contentment and patience. Yeah, I like that. I like that. I like all of our comments here. No expectations. Yeah, that's a common theme. Forgiveness and acceptance brings ease. Be gentle on myself and leave the work stress at the door. Yeah, that time off. It's sometimes challenging to unhook from our busyness, like what you mentioned earlier, Jackie.
Yeah, so a lot about expectations and self-compassion kind of themes that are showing up. So, this is all practice. What we do when we sit in meditation and what we do even more importantly in our real lives. And so how do we bring these intentions and aspirations into both practices, the formal sitting practice and the practice in our real lives, knowing that we're going to get pulled away, we'll get distracted, we'll mess up, if you will. And how do we cultivate the qualities that are most helpful to keep practicing in our meditation and especially in our lives? Interestingly, when I was thinking about this, I looked up some of the words that were coming to mind around intention and aspiration. And the word aspiration comes from the same root word as breathe. So it comes from the Latin root aspirare, if I'm pronouncing that correctly, which means breathe upon. I really love that.
Yeah.
So shall I move us into practice?
Absolutely. Sounds perfect.
Okay, great. So we'll practice for about 15 minutes and I'll give some brief guidance at the beginning and then offer some gentle reminders along the way during the practice. And if you have your own practice and it's better to let my voice drop into the background, that's perfectly fine. So let's begin by finding the posture that's right for you in this moment. A seated posture, if it feels better to stand, and as Suzanne is modeling, to do any movements that would be helpful right now. If you've already been sitting this morning, feel free to even stand for a few seconds and give some stretch or just check out what your body needs to settle in for this 15-minute sit. And finding the posture that brings both some stability and ease. And if it feels right for you, allowing the eyes to softly close or finding just a soft gaze away from the screen, ideally. And inviting in a couple of deeper than normal breaths. Particularly lengthening the exhalation if you're feeling any stress or unsettledness. And feeling the support of the chair if you're seated or cushion or the ground beneath you. Letting the body rest on the earth and the mind rest on the body. And noticing the shape of the body. Just really feeling into the shape the body's taking in this moment. Softening to whatever degree is possible. And inviting in ease and spaciousness. And beginning at the crown of the head, scanning to see what's here. Noticing sensations in the head, in the face. Checking in with areas through the forehead, around the eyes, down through the sides of the face, the cheeks, the jaw. Feeling into what's here. And without any effort, just releasing any excess tension or tightness. And continuing to move the awareness down into the neck, the shoulder region. Through the torso, down the arms and hands. Into the belly. The hip and pelvic region. Allowing the body to be heavy. Feeling through the legs. The feet. Aware of points of contact. Invitation to soften and without effort to see what's here and to release anything that's not needed. And noticing the whole of the body. And that the body is breathing. And finding whatever anchor is most easily accessible for you to bring a sense of collectedness. So just like the intention, just like that helpful remembering we talked about before, that's really what the anchor is about. It's about a way that we can most easily collect and ground when we drift, when the mind wanders, when we get pulled away. So whatever anchor will best support you, and that might be the awareness of breath, might be sound, sensations of the hands or the feet. It could be the weight of the body supported by the seat, by the earth. Simply resting and receiving, and see if you can make space for whatever arises. Knowing that there is this anchor, this home base to come back to. Feeling into whatever sensations arise. No thoughts necessary. Perhaps even noticing, how's the heart? With each exhalation, there's a chance to soften, to release, to begin again. In the last few minutes of practice, just seeing if there are any other qualities that you want to invite in, if there's a way to bring forward some kindness, some compassion. To all that's here. And as we bring the practice to a close, may we all be safe and well. May we be peaceful. May all beings live with ease, with joy, and with kindness. And may our practice be of benefit to all. And as you're ready, taking your time, just bringing some gentle movement in and allowing the eyes to open if they've been closed. Thank you all
so much, Jackie. Very nourishing practice. I really connect with how within the practice you were mentioning that that we can invite in whatever's here, even thoughts, knowing that the anchor is there for us. So that gives us a little safety net. Like if our mind just starts going, spinning around, we think, okay, maybe it's not time for us to to do that and go back. So yeah. I like that reminder.
You know, we often talk about coming back, beginning again as many times as necessary. And I think of, we call it an anchor for a reason, and that metaphor of a boat with the anchor, and that, you know, the boat doesn't stay fixed and stationary, focused every moment. It drifts, and the anchor is there to bring it back.
Yeah. I was even, as we were speaking earlier, I was thinking about the opportunity when we have family around, sometimes things, you know, sometimes someone can just, you can feel that little feeling of being set off a little bit. And we can use that same metaphor of the anchor. I sometimes use my feet against the ground, and I think about the fact that if my feet on that person's feet are on the same earth, and that connects us and makes us the same in many ways, and that's a way to kind of remind myself, oh, you know, that's where they're coming from, and just to honor that.
We're breathing that same air too.
Right. Yeah. I love how Kristen mentions to be kind to my grave.
I was just noticing that one too. I love it. And certainly if anybody has any questions, we welcome those.
Thank you for the comments. And someone has also mentioned giving the past and the future the least amount of time. You know, that I've never heard it said that way, but I really like that.
Yeah.
Because, I don't know, it just kind of makes us think, okay, here we go.
Makes me think of Ted Lasso, what was his line for any Ted Lasso fans? Be like a goldfish. Mhm.
Right,
They have
right.
no memory.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a great one to bring in. I like that.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
know there's an opportunity to watch some reruns over the over the season. Um,
Share some
yeah, I love
laughter.
this. Supply chain is not perfect. Learn to adapt and let go. All of our supply chains are not perfect, right? So what a wonderful way to ease us into our time with our community and family for Thanksgiving. Really grateful to you, Jackie, for being here with us and for guiding us in one of the best body scans I've been in recent memory. That was just
Mhm.
made me even forget I was on a webinar. So,
Thank you, Suzanne. Well, I'm really struck by in the comments, just all the loving kindness and compassion. And I wish that for everyone.
well, thank you. And thank you to everyone who's joined. Um, and, wishing you the best time, whether you're going solo during this time or around a big group of, maybe some challenges or some wonderful times. We wish you a very happy Thanksgiving and look forward to seeing you next week. We are not together on Thanksgiving Day, so just a reminder for that. But we'll be back here on the following Tuesday. So see you all soon. And thank you again for joining. And thank you to Jackie.
Thank you all. Be well.
Bye-bye.